Everybody, welcome back to part 10 of the Pet Adoption app. In this part, we're going to add more fields to the user. So if I was to open Postgres, and of course, my Postgres app is running, the server is running, and now I have to open pgadmin, and pgadmin is here in the top right corner, and I'm going to click on new pgadmin window. I just want to show you the users table, and please have a quick look on this. Well, when I say quick look, like pause video and just go have a look in case you forgot. But we have this pet adoption app development, and down to schema, and then down to the users table, right click and view all rows. We're going to add more fields to this table, which means we have to modify the model. And obviously we have to modify the model, and we have to create a migration that's going to say, hey, add these extra columns to the user model. So this is the user model that was created when we created devise, right? When we created devise, the user model was created because we said devise generate model users. So this, because we didn't call it admin, we didn't call it pet adopters, we called it users. That's how it's a user. So we have email, encrypted password, email, reset, and I think you probably already gone through all this, but I just wanted to let you know that we do not have full name, and we don't have organization. Organization is something optional. I'm going to add it. I'm going to add organization because pet rescue or some people do it by themselves, they rescue pets, and some people actually obviously own an organization or belong to an organization. So we don't have organization, we don't have about, we don't have status. So we are definitely going to have to add these fields. So this is really important because we cover basically how to add more fields to a user model. Okay, so when we come back here to Visual Studio Code, I'm just going to close all the preview from the previous tasks. My server is running, of course. I'm just gonna, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make everything smaller, and I want you to open a new tab here and type in devise gem. I just don't like typing things that you guys may find ridiculous, that I'm not showing you guys where I'm getting the information from. So just click here on the first, obviously type devise gem, go to the GitHub page, and over here I want you to have a quick look in regards to adding fields to the user. It tells you, look, if you add more fields to the user table, you have to tell devise what it can do, right? So here it's saying this is the lazy way, but is this the lazy way part? Yeah. It says you can add this the lazy way, but see here, this is not the lazy way. This is how it's done. Inside the application controller, you need to actually add these lines here. And what it says is just saying here, it's telling devise that the sign up key here is the username, so that someone can actually sign up with a username. Because we can add more fields, but it doesn't mean they'll be able to sign up with the username. So in the registration .html.erb, sorry, in the registration folder, in the users /sign up, we're gonna add full name as well as email. Okay, so here it's telling us that we can add sign up keys username. Okay, so we're gonna add username as a sign up key. Okay, all right, and the next thing we need to do is to also account update. You see here, this is sign up. This is a symbol, right? So we can also use account update. So we're gonna run this line again for account. Okay, so I'm gonna grab all this here. Well, first of all, before I even grab this, we need to add the fields. Okay, that's the first thing we need to do, is to add the fields. So let's start adding the fields, and I'm gonna come back to Visual Studio, because after we add the fields, then we're gonna say, like, look, devise, listen, we can also sign up with full name. So now I want to show you something okay, so we'll do a Control C to stop the server. We're gonna add what? We're gonna add the full name. Okay, that's gonna be a string. The organization, and if you don't know string, please Google Ruby on Rails strings. Okay, it's a data type. We have an organization as a string, a language. I'm gonna add a language. Forgot to tell you, we need to add language because people can come from any part of the world. And about, okay, that's going to be a text, and a boolean, which is going to be our status. Okay, our status is going to be a boolean. It's going to be either true or false. So 1 is going to be true, 0 is going to be false, which stands for active, will be 1, and inactive will be 0. Okay, so for now though, the data type of status will be Boolean. Okay, so let's type in. So we have to obviously, whenever we add, we have to add fields to the user table. So we have to create a migration. Okay, so type in Rails G migration. And then we need to name our migration. It's a meaningful name, so we can name it. You can name it whatever. You can name it hello XYZ, but I'm gonna give it a meaningful name, and you should always too. Okay, so I'm gonna use camel casing, and you can also do something like. So I'm gonna say add extra fields, right? So you can actually do it like this too. Let me show you. You can say add, right, underscore extra, but I'm not gonna use it like that. Not gonna do this. I'm used to doing this. Add extra fields to user. And I'm gonna say users because our model it's a users table, plural. There's many users, so I'm gonna put an S. So add extra fields to users. And if you don't believe me and you're wondering what to do, well, remember this model here. Remember this migration in the DB earlier when we created the devise user. Guess what they're doing? Users, always using it as S. Well, actually, no, we named this devise create users, but that's how they told us to name it. So always follow whatever they've done, whatever they recommend. And Rails users. Okay. Now, as you can see here, this is migrated, and there's a number, a unique number. So when we create this, now don't press enter yet. If you did, go back and Google something like how to roll back. I think it's the devise destroy migration, and you just do the name. Anyway, so you know what to do, right? So I hope you didn't press enter now yet. So after that, we're gonna do full name, and that's gonna be a string. Okay, so I'm gonna minimize this so you guys could see. So there we go. So Rails generate migration, Rails G migration, add extra fields to users, full name string, then followed by a space, organization, organization, and that's going to be a string, followed by a space, language, and that's going to be a string as well. Okay. Please, I hope I don't make any mistakes here on the spelling. I'm so clumsy. Followed by about, and that's going to be a text, and a space followed by status, and the status is going to be a Boolean. Okay, why? Because like I said earlier, I was explaining, status is going to be a Boolean. Okay, it's true or false. All right, so once we do that, I'm going to hit enter. And the minute I hit enter, you're going to notice here, that something is going to pop up, and it's going to be in green because it's untracked. And this here is literally, I'm going to click on it. It hasn't been moved now. The migration is made, and it has a unique number, as you see. And so this really, the text after the number is just for us to identify what it is. Because imagine if you just had a bunch of numbers, you'd be like, what the heck is this, right? This is so difficult. Who's going to remember all these numbers? But it's adding you a meaningful name, what you named it, so you can always know the migration. Okay, so now the add extra fields to users. This is what it tells. It says, look, with this method of change, I want you to go into the users table, add a users table, add a column in the users table, and I want it to be a string. Add a column in the users table, it's going to be a string. Add a column, yada yada. It gets down to status, that's going to be a Boolean, and that's all it's doing. So we don't need to do nothing now. I just wanted to show you the migration. Now close this migration, obviously. And as you can see here in our database, there is nothing because nothing has been migrated. So once you do that, then you have to do the Rails DB migrate. Rails DB migrate is going to migrate it into the database. So come back to Visual Studio Code, type in Rails DB migrate. Okay, Rails. No, that's wrong. Rails. Let me say Rails DB migrate. Rails DB migrate, and now I'm gonna hit the enter key. Okay, so now it should say and you should not get any errors. It should say, well, we're going to add these fields and everything is going to be migrated. And you know what? I've actually made a mistake. So what I have done now, I didn't make a mistake, but I did one little thing I forgot to do. Okay, one little thing I forgot to do. So what I want you to do now, I want to show you something. If you were to refresh the users table, view all rows, and I want you to click view all rows, right click on the users table, view all rows, you're going to notice something. You're going to notice that there is literally more fields in the user table. But okay, so here's our field. We have a full name, organization, language, about, and status. Now there's a problem with status because status is problematic. And the problem with status here, the problem with status here is that it's a null, and that's a problem because now for every user, it's supposed to it's an active status. It's either active or inactive. So we forgot to do something. We forgot to come. I'm going to show you here back in the migration, and it's a good thing that I forgot to tell you this because that way you guys know the difference. So when you click back on add extra fields to user, here we're supposed to say default is false. So that way default is inactive because all users are inactive until they make themselves active. So that's a problem, guys. That's a serious problem, and we didn't. So how do you roll back? Now I don't want to delete this migration. But what I do want to reverse, I want to reverse the migration here that came into the table. The migration. I don't want to reverse. I don't want to delete this. Okay, I want to keep that. So what do you do? So I need to roll back the movement of all this into the users table. I want to roll it back. How do I roll back? I type in, for the previous one, I do Rails DB roll back. And just make sure you do this correct. You type it correct. Rails DB rollback. That's going to reverse what happened to the database. Okay, it's not going to reverse this. I want to keep this. Okay, this stuff I want to keep. So just hit enter. Okay, you don't need to highlight that. Just hit enter. And that's going to roll back. It's going to undo what happened to the table, to the database table. Okay, so that's going to literally undo the last command that you just did, which is Rails DB migrate. So if you come back to the users table now and right click on users and view all rows, you're going to see language, about, and everything is gone. Bye-bye. Okay, so that's a good thing. So now I'm going to come back here, and what I want to do is I want to set a default. I want to set a default to false. Okay, that's important. So it's important for me because I don't want to have a bunch of nulls on a Boolean. I mean, it's different when you have null on, everything else. But for a Boolean, I don't want to have a bunch of nulls. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to come back, and after the Boolean, you want to set and add a comma. Okay. You want to set and add a comma, and you want to literally say default, like that, just the default. I want the default to be false. Okay. False, like that. So that way now we know that this is going to be, by default, it's going to say false because it's a Boolean. It's true or false. Okay, so I'm going to save this migration, the add extra fields to users. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Rails DB migrate. Okay, and I want you to remember this. I always want you to remember this. Always define your Booleans. Okay, Rails DB migrate, and hit enter. And that's going to remigrate it again into the users table. You're going to notice that. So that's you're just rolling back. You're undoing what happened to the database table. Okay, you're not deleting the add extra fields to users. That's a different command. Okay, so I don't want to make this video long, but please, if in the comments, let me explain. If you want any sort of explanation, I can make a video for you. Come back to Chrome on the users, view all rows, and you're going to notice this. Right over here, you're going to notice something. Again, our full name is back, organization is back, our language is back, our about, and our status is false. Okay, so now we are good. We don't have issues with our fields. Okay, we don't have issues with our fields. So what is the next thing that we need to do? So that's the big question now, is what are we going to do next? So what I want you to do next is come back here, we're talking about in case you want to permit additional parameters. Of course, I want to add permit additional parameters. I want to allow them to sign up with the username. So I want you to go this is called application controller. Okay, this is the application controller. Okay, so you want to grab and remember this account update as well. So you want to grab this before action all the way down to here inside this application controller. Copy that. All right, and then come back over here, and you want to go to models. No, you want to close this. You want to go to controllers, and click on application controller. And inside the application controller, you can literally paste that in. So over here, there is a sign up keys is username, but no, we want to put full name because our main sign up key that we want to use, not main, but one of the main sign up keys we want to use is not username. We didn't name it username. We named it full name. So we add here the full name. And in addition to that, I also want to add something else on top of that. Okay, I want to also add the organization, but I don't want to make it necessary to add the organization. So I'm going to show you later what so instead of so here it says sign up keys full name, I can also add a comma just the same way they have it here, and just do the same and then say organization full name and organization. Okay, so then I want you to copy the entire thing here. Okay, because here we're doing sign up keys, remember? Okay, I'll show you in a second. So instead here in the sanitizer permit, here we're going to change this to account update. Account underscore update. It's not crazy, it's just we're just doing exactly what they told us to do, which is over here. There's a bunch of things you can say: sign in, sign up, and it allows different things. You know what I mean? So for the account update, device registration controller update. That's the permits authorization keys plus password confirmation. Good. So that means I can update my account. So I'm going to use this instead of in addition to the sign up. Okay. So over here we have the same thing. So we can say, look, we want to update with full name and organization. Okay, and I think I'm doing this right because here I'm signing up with sign up keys, full name, and organization. Okay, now the email part, if you're asking about the email part, that's already by default. Okay, so you can sign up by email by default. Now I'm going to save this. So after I save this, next thing I want to do is I want to actually start making changes inside the user model. And you have to actually tell devise exactly the validation, okay? Because yes, this is on the controller, but on the user model, the user.rb file, which is over here, that's the next step you wanna do is click on users.rb, and this devise it's saying include this. So if you come back here and type in command F user.rb, how is that possible? Oh yeah, because we just type in model. Okay, because the model configuring models. Okay, there we go, configuring models. Okay, so that's the controller. These are you have to spend some time in reading through this, okay? But you have to actually tell devise about this. All right, so come back to Visual Studio, and what I want you to do is add a bunch of validations, and these validations are pretty much straightforward, right? So you're gonna say something like validates, and I can't believe they don't have it here. I always thought previously there would always be something like validates full name with the presence of true, validates something else, like an example. And let me just come back here. Command F validates. That should be there. I'm surprised. Database authenticable. Okay, so anyway, so I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna put the link. I always forget to put the links down below. So anyway, here we're gonna have to do a validates. So we're gonna do validates full name. So we need to add the full name. We also need to say that the presence is gonna be true, because without the full name, I don't care who you are, you're not gonna sign up. Okay, so presence is true. The full name has to be there no matter what. The length, we need to also add a length. Can you imagine someone puts a full name with like 5,000 characters? So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you put the length. The length will be what maximum of maximum of 70. I think 70 characters is enough for a full name. And just make sure you wrap this maximum inside curly braces. Oh, inside curly braces. So maximum is 70. Just make it look a little pretty. Okay, so validates full name. Okay, remember this. You can take a break. When you take a break, think about it. Like, think about that. That's a key, right? Well, it's not a key. It's actually a symbol right now. This is a symbol. Okay, so this validates the full name. The presence is true. Okay, and length maximum 70. You can change this to 50, but I like to put 70. Now, what you want to do is grab the whole thing, copy, and then paste it in. And we need to also validate the organization. Organization, because that means that we need to validate the organization. It means that if the organization is present, okay, we need to validate it. But the presence doesn't have to be true. It can be false. Okay, so the organization doesn't have to be there. That's all this means. The presence true means, this means that it has to be there. But the organization, the presence is false. And the maximum, I'm going to say like, well, I don't know, maybe 200. Because it's a string, remember? A string shouldn't be that long, but I don't know, I think 200 is fine. Actually, I should not put 150. That's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna save this now, and after that, of course, we're gonna have come back here. So now we're gonna have to start playing around with our views. So the user.rb saved. I'm gonna save this, close the user.rb. Application controller looks perfect. I'm gonna obviously save that and close application controller. Migration we don't need. Now I want you to come back to the view. I'm gonna do this as fast as possible. So click on views, click on devise, click on registrations. Then inside the registrations, in the new, I want you to just take a moment and think about it. Like, we can just do a Rails S just so that we have something live that we can see. So I don't know why this was highlighted. So we had the email. So what we want to do now is we want to start adding, instead of this, I'm going to copy this thing here, copy. And remember, we said that we wanted to add a full name and an email. So we're going to have to add a row. Okay, so I'm going to do enter. I'm going to do a div.row just to give it a class of row. Because we're gonna have two groups, right? And then I think call -6. I think it's a div dot call -6. That's half a row. I mean half a column. I'm gonna grab this email field, Command X, and I'm gonna add it here inside of that. Okay, so that's that, right? And I'm gonna, so this is half a row. Copy that. Come back here, paste it in. I'm going to grab both of these columns and hit the tab key. Now I'm going to just minimize this. And this is going to be a text field, text underscore field. And with this going to be a full name, autofocus true, autocomplete, full name, class, form control user, that's fine. So we have a row, and inside we have a full name and an email. And again, I'm going to grab this form group here, okay, and I'm going to copy that, come back, and again, when we only have one, so what I'm going to do here is users, I'm basically, just give me a second, guys. Okay, so basically here, instead of this email field, I'm going to split this into two, right? So it's going to be, on the left is going to be the user email, on the right is going to be the full name, and underneath it's going to be a full one. So whenever it's a full one, we don't need to put a row. We don't need to put a column. That's why I'm grabbing this entire form group here. Copy that, and at the end of this row, I'm gonna add. At the end of this row, I'm gonna add. Let me grab that command, curly brace. Over here, I'm gonna add the organization. So this is a text field, text underscore field, field, and the text field is gonna be organization. Organization, autofocus true, autocomplete organization, class that, blah, blah, blah. So that's all the classes. Now, we need to let these people know that this is not required. So let's see. I'm going to put a label here. Label. I don't know why there's a 4 there. Label optional. Optional. It's not required. Okay, that's optional. We'll just say it like that. Text. I should put a span here and say span. My gosh. Okay. So we type span dot text dash muted. And inside the span, inside the span here, okay, we're gonna do optional. So save this. Now, the minute I create an account with all this information, I want you to know, the minute I create an account inside this, I want you to know I'll be able to see this in the database. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh this. Actually, speaking of that, since we're not gonna see it, I'm gonna do a Control C, stop and start the server. Rails S. Remember, we messed around with controllers and models. So come back to Google Chrome. I don't know why I'm feeling sick. I'm feeling great. It's just my throat. I'm feeling my energy levels are over the roof, but my throat is just, I don't know. Oh, there you go. So we have, okay, so, I think we got this. If we go to SV admin here and we look at the form anyway, I'm not happy with this. I don't like this. This, to be honest, I don't like this stuff here. But we're gonna have to play with this later. It's up to you. So anyway, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is that we added those fields now. So let me just add those fields. And I'm gonna play with them later. Let me add those let me add those labels around. Okay, so I'm gonna add a label here. Wasting my time now. Label. When I say I'm wasting my time, I mean like I'm spending time in HTML. So your email. Okay, grab this and then copy that form group right on top of the form group. I don't want to add placeholders. I'm not happy with placeholder. Your full name. Okay, that's the full name, the email, and then here we're gonna add this is option organization name, organization name optional, and of course I'm gonna grab this X that. Sorry, I put it inside the span. It should be inside the label. Okay, and then we also need to say. I'm gonna right here form group row. Actually, we should put I did this wrong. So over here inside the row, put a form group, and we don't need this form group thing here either. Okay, we don't need that like that. It's because we already call form group over there. I hope I'm doing the right thing now and I'm not gonna mess up all my HTML. Okay, so you gotta look at how they did it. They did it with whenever they have a form group row, They don't add the form group inside here. Just add it once. And then the part, right, so I'm going to just save this everything. Please, you can make it better. You're more than welcome. All right, so the password, oh boy. Confirm your password, okay. All right. So label inside your password, please enter a password. Enter a password. Confirm your password. Copy. Put it here. Confirm. Confirm your password. Save it. Come back here and it should be. Jeez, what have I done there? And I think this label, we can put this inside of here. There. Enter password, confirm your password. We're gonna have to work on these colors. Okay, so that's it. So this is the form group. So I'm gonna create a new account now. I'm gonna call this I don't know, Carlos. Carlos at gmail.com. My email is gonna be Carlos. Oh crap! Sorry. X that. Put that in the email. Carlos Santana. And organization is going to be Carlos Pet Rescue. The password is going to be Carlos123. Confirm it. Carlos123 and register an account. Now this is going to work. Okay, perfect. Now, welcome. You have signed up successfully. So if I come over here and I right click on the users, view all rows, you should be able to see there, Carlos, and he's gonna have an organization name, Carlos Pet Rescue, the full name, and there we go. The status is false. Isn't that amazing, guys? That's amazing. So now we need to test how Carlos is gonna sign in, because remember, and how Carlos is gonna update. Let's take one step at a time. So how is Carlos gonna update? That's important. So if I come here and I edit the profile, now if I want to add, of course, in your add. This we have to add organization and about. Okay, remember we have about. Yeah, so we have about here, and let's come back to edit. So over here in edit.html.arb we have the email, so we should put these side by side, right? So we need to do the same thing. What we do here, come back to Visual Studio. This is the registrations edit.html.arb. We have an email with a form group. So here we need to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a row, okay? And inside that row, we're going to add columns, right? So div.col-6, okay? And inside, I'm going to make this 2 times, copy and paste 2 times, and I'm going to add labels inside, and I'm going to add another label. I'm going to grab the email field, Command X that. What did I do? What happened? I'm going to grab the email field, okay, Command X to cut, and under the label inside this column here, I'm going to paste that in. Okay, so I'm gonna call this, and then I'm gonna grab this again, copy, and I'm gonna paste it in. All right, like that. So I have 2 columns side by side, col 6 and col 6, and this here is, I turn this into a row. Okay, so here I'm gonna type in the full name. It's a text underscore field. Text underscore field, and this I'm going to call this full name because that's what we called our field, full name. Autofocus true and copy and paste here. This is the full name. Okay, so save this, come back here and refresh. Now, there we go. So we have, let's test and see if the full name is gonna change. And let's call Carlos to Maria and update the profile. It's gonna say you can't because you haven't entered the password. The current password is Carlos123, update profile. And sure enough, it updated my profile. So we need to work on this update profile not to take us back. So our full name is Maria. Okay, so I want to change it back to Carlos and change it back to Carlos, update current password, Carlos123, update profile. And this Google Chrome thing is such a pain when you're developing. You gotta really make sure you turn everything off. So Carlos Santana, carlos@gmail.com. Okay. So now we have about, we have organization. Okay, so if I want to add an organization, I should be able to add an organization. So this is a new password, So I'm gonna put an HR. Okay, I'm gonna put an HR after all this just to give us a little break. Okay, because it seems like we need to stick around here more often and not near the password area. The password area, I'm gonna just put HR like this. Okay, just to see how this looks now. Okay, let's put an HR. All right, so let's just put an HR. That's just a line. Now I'm gonna add another form group, okay? Because it's gonna take up the whole thing, and I'm gonna call this organization. All right, so I'm gonna do a div dot form group, okay, like that. Form group, and inside the form group, I'm gonna do the same thing. Text field. So this is gonna be the organization. Okay, so text field organization, autofocus true, autocomplete, organization, form control. So let's save it, come back here, refresh. So there we go. So we have an organization as well. And we need to add a label. Copy that, come here, and inside that label organization, I'm gonna call it organization. We need to put something like optional. So span dot text dash muted, and then optional. Okay, wow, this is bad. The X-text is not, my classes are not working from Bootstrap. Anyway, that's fine. That's fine. We're okay. We're using a free theme, so there's some things that we're missing. And the back to back to the Visual Studio Code over here. Now, don't use the placeholders, okay? For now, I don't want you guys to use placeholders for now. So we have the organization name option, and then we need to put the about. Okay, we need to put the about. Come back to Visual Studio, and in the about, we're gonna grab this here, copy, and I'm gonna call this text field, and I'm gonna call this about. Okay, about autocomplete. I think I'm gonna put false here. Okay, so let's save that. Now this may not work because we did not add organization. So let's just leave this as is, guys, because I have to make a profile page, not just the edit profile. So I need to think about this. You see this. Let's remove the about for now because I need to plan this out in regards to the where this about is going to be, okay? Because remember, this is still with devise. So let me just we're going to create a dashboard controller later. So let's just do this when we do the dashboard controller. But for now, I'm going to leave it up to organization, the important things, the about, and the language. Refresh this. The about. So look, we have. If I want to change the organization name, I'm going to call it Maria Pets and Rescue. And I'll call this Maria again. Let's call this Maria for the email. And I want to change the. Of course, I have to enter my password here now. So I'm going to type in Carlos123. And if I update the profile, it's going to take me back to the page which we have to work on. And edit profile, you'll see here Maria Pet and Rescue. Come back to our database and view all rows. You're gonna notice that it's not Carlos anymore. It's Maria. Okay, so it's definitely Maria. And then we got Maria Santana, Maria Pet Rescue. Status is false, and then we have the about. Of course, we can add the about. You know, we can just come over here and type in Bootstrap forms. Come back to Bootstrap forms. On get Bootstrap, and then just type in forms. And then you just want to grab that's a text area. So form group. So class ID form control text area rows 3. There we go. So so after the organization, I'm going to paste this here. Copy that. Now Bootstrap said that this is a form group label. I'm going to actually grab the whole thing. Might as well grab the whole thing. So instead of this, I'm gonna paste that beautiful Bootstrap HTML. Okay, so and instead of this form control, why do we have 2 organizations here? Okay, so instead of this text field, I'm gonna call this text area. Actually, wait. Yeah, text area. And here I'm gonna put about, autofocus true, autocomplete, autocomplete about. So the ID, we need to add an ID. Do we need to add an ID? No, rows 3. Form control, comma. Make sure you remove the equal sign like that. So let's see, let's call that, we don't need this. Okay, so we have this, let me just come here. So that's it. So basically it's just the rows 3, let's put rows 5. Autofocus true, autocomplete. Where did I put autofocus false? Anyway, so we're in the edit page. Refresh this. We are a pet rescue organization. So if I copy this and I pasted it in like that, and I won't be able to update because I didn't put the current password Carlos123. Update the profile. There you go. So it's been updated. You come back to pgadmin, view all rows. Now you should see something in the about as well, because obviously it's been added to the database. Yeah, so about hasn't been updated. I think what happened is the reason why it hasn't been updated is because we didn't add this in the controller, so that's why. So in the update though, what we're gonna do is come back again to controller, application controller, and in the update keys, full name, organization, and we're gonna put about. Okay, I'm gonna type in about, and let's type in language. Okay, these are the fields we want. So let's save this. Control C to stop the server. Type in Rails S. Come back to edit because we're not creating accounts with this, but we need to be able to update this. Now, in regards to the organization, let's type in a row. And inside of this row, I'm going to type a div.call-6. I'm going to grab this whole entire organization name thing and paste it in here. So we can add the language too. Copy that, and I'm going to just do the same thing. And here, I'm going to call this language. In regards to this text muted, obviously it's not working, and I'm not going to put optional. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. You guys can play around, do what you want. And then language, this is a text field, language. Later, we're going to have to use a drop-down menu. Autofocus doesn't matter. Language. Save that. Now, if we come back again, we'll be able to save. All this. Edit profile. So we have about and organize. So organization language. I'm gonna put English or Spanish. Okay. Later we'll do a select. Here I'm gonna type in. We are a pet rescue. Copy. And then in here I'm gonna put Carlos. Carlos 1, 2, 3. Update profile. Okay, so now that we've updated the profile, let's click again on edit profile. There, so it's been saved. Now, if we come back over here in the users table and view all rows, you should be able to see the about and everything is there. Yeah, the about. See? That's the about, and you can just make this bigger if you want. Oh, it's not making anything bigger, but you can double click on it and you can see it. So there we go. So we have everything, guys. We've added extra fields to the user table. Oh, you can do this with every model, okay? With every model. So over here, we added in application controller just the edit, just the update, okay? We can update about and language, but in regards to creating signing up, okay, on the next tutorial, guys, I'm gonna jump back into the URLs. These URLs are ridiculous. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, and in regards to these HTML and all that, please do not get discouraged. Please do not get discouraged. Don't worry about the HTML. I'll cover this. I'm gonna have to obviously create another HTML tutorial, but this stuff is all easy. Just go to Bootstrap. You can add classes to all the labels. You can go to you can style it here with CSS. Just leave it like this. That's fine. That looks perfectly fine. Just leave it like that, and we'll work on it later together. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you for being here with me, and I will see you guys in part 11, where we're gonna change these URLs and make them look pretty, because right now they're ridiculous. Okay, See you guys. Talk to you guys later. Oh, wait. Visual Studio Code, control. Wait, we have the edit, registration, edit. Forgot password. That's all. Okay. So control C, git add. Okay. Add period. Git commit dash m, followed by completed. Blah blah blah. Added extra fields to user model. Okay. Added extra fields to user model. Git push. All right, so that's in the new commit. Okay, see you guys later in part 10. Is it part 10? No. This is part, I forget what part are we in? This is part 10. See you guys in part 11. I hope I didn't start the video with saying part 9. So it's part 10. See you guys in part 11. Bye-bye.